Welcome to this relatively brief session, just half an hour, essential Excel shortcuts. My name is Dave Marlow. I work at BPP. I head up the financial modeling courses here at BPP, and this is really well. It serves a number of purposes. It's a little bit of marketing for us. It's marketing for our online modeling courses, which we started running. So what we've got here is it's a very brief session. Actually, it's really just on Excel shortcuts. It's kind of one element of our intro modeling day, and it's just to give you a taste of the obviously the software that we use and also how it would work. With the modeling courses that run online, they are very interactive, and you are doing a lot of the exercises. This is just a little taster, so there's not a lot for you to do this afternoon, I'm afraid. But you can just watch and observe, and there's a fair few things for you to look at. You'll notice in the pods we've got here, most of you have spotted the questions in chat pod. There's a material pod up there. So that material pod has got a Word document in it, and because we're talking shortcuts today, that's actually just a list of my top 15 or top 20 shortcuts, all of which we'll be demonstrating in this very brief session this afternoon. So that's there for you. You can download that whenever you want, or you can download it from the playback as well. Just a couple of things before we get started. Let me move down here. And there's a disclaimer. More importantly, if you're not already aware, so we run core classroom courses. There's a financial modeling introduction, 1-day course. There's a financial modeling comprehensive, 2-day course, and there's a financial modeling advanced 2-day course. So these are all classroom courses at the moment. It's the intro day, the 1-day introduction, which we're starting to run online. And I suppose what we're about to do now, this 20 minutes that we're about to do, would be a little bit like what the first part of that might be like. So that's just if you weren't aware of that. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can hear what I'm doing. One thing I will mention, that shortcuts document that's in the material box up there, I'll quickly pop that on the screen. So it's just a one-pager. It is my list of essential shortcuts. Yeah, it's just for you to print off and stick beside your desk if you're interested in using more of these shortcuts. Why? Let me get rid of that because I don't want to reveal some of those before we actually get into some action. Why are shortcuts such a good thing? Well, most people who use Excel most of the time tend to use the mouse. Here we go. Here's my mouse. I have one here. And reaching for the mouse, okay, I reach over here, I move it around. Not only are you likely to get RSI, okay, that's not a big deal, but it slows you down, it's inaccurate. I want to click on cell J13, and here I am oh, okay. Well, in that case, it was quite accurate. But there are other alternatives to using the mouse, and they are quicker, more efficient, more precise, and of course they are using the shortcuts. If you've ever worked with anybody, a professional financial modeler, the one thing you'll notice is they build, and they don't seem to be going anywhere near the mouse. Nowhere near the mouse, or equally nowhere near the tracking pad. Everything seems to be happening on the keyboard with the shortcuts. So what I thought we'd do, I'm going to talk you through my top 15, my top 20. It's not going to take us particularly long. What I thought we'd do before we did that is I might just do a little bit of a demo. Now, this isn't going to be hugely exciting for you because you won't be able to see what's happening down here on my keyboard. But suffice it to say, here is my mouse. I'm going to hide it so I can't go anywhere near it. I'm kind of hiding it out of the way now. Now, I'm not going to particularly talk through what I'm doing now, but suffice it to say, I'm not using the mouse or the tracking pad, and I'm going to try and build a simple financial model. Don't worry, it sounds like it's the most boring thing in the world watching me do this, but it's only going to take, hopefully, it's only going to take about 2 or 3 minutes. What have we got here? Model the performance of an ongoing annual investment over time with a fixed rate of return. Every shortcut that I that I use now, I'm about to talk through in a little bit more detail. So you will see them all. This is an investment. I might be good at shortcuts, but I'm not very good at typing. So we're going to have an annual investment. I'm going to have a rate of return. So typing in is obviously very easy. You'll notice I'm using the arrow keys to move around. So I'm not using the mouse at all. I'm just using my arrow keys. Let's have an annual investment of 1,000 and a rate of return of maybe 4%. Again, I'm not particularly talking through what I'm doing here. That's not the point. You will see all of these shortcuts in more detail very shortly. We need to model the performance over time, so we're going to need periods. We're going to need opening balance. We're going to need the investment. Let me just link this up to here. Yeah, that's a bit wide, so I'll talk you through that one in a minute. The interest and closing. So I'm nearly done actually, because all I'm going to do now is for my periods, I'm going to make that equal to that plus that. Copy and paste that down. Look out for this one later on. That's a particularly useful shortcut. And I'm going to make my opening balance always equal to the closing from the previous year. My annual investment is going to be 1,000. F4 for dollars on that one. We are not going to be talking about F4 dollars in this mini session. It's something that's covered on that intro modeling day. So look out for that if you're considering attending that intro modeling day. But the annual investment is going to be 1,000. So my interest in the year is going to be the interest rate. Here we go. Applied to what should we do? That plus that. Yeah, that looks about right. The closing is going to be okay. That's a nice little shortcut. Look out for that one later on. And then there you go. Although I've shot all the way down to the bottom to line 65,000, which I didn't really intend to do there. And we are done. Let me just quickly delete all that stuff. Okay, fine. Right, so I know that wasn't hugely exciting for you. However, the point of that, it was a 2-minute demonstration just to illustrate that a simple model like that can be built entirely without using the mouse. It's all with shortcuts. And because I wasn't having to reach over for the mouse, here it is. I'm going to bring it back now. I wasn't having to reach over for the mouse. Things were a little bit more precise and a little bit more accurate. Now, the point is, and this is really important, if you are one of those people who uses the mouse a lot, over the next 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to be seeing a lot of these great shortcuts, and they are really useful and they are great. To get to the point where you're using them all the time, it's quite a painful process because you really need to force yourself to move your mouse away. I can tell you that it's quicker, it's more precise, it's more efficient, but actually it won't feel like that at all initially. It will feel really slow and painful. However, after 1 hour, it'll be a bit quicker, and after 2 hours, it'll be a bit quicker. And after a day or two, after 3 or 4 days, you will never look back, and you will be using Excel much more quickly, much more efficiently, much more precisely than you ever have done in the past. If you use Excel a lot, you need to start using these shortcuts, and you need to force yourself to do it. And when this session is over, and this afternoon you go back to using Excel, force yourself. Every time you go back to using the mouse, to grab the mouse, that kind of kicks you back half a day. So all I can really do is encourage you to stick with it. Don't expect it to be easy initially, because it's not. It's not natural. If you've been using your mouse all your life, it's not natural to suddenly start using shortcuts. Okay, that's enough of me preaching. Let's talk about some of the shortcuts. I'll try and make this a little bit interactive, although there's over 100 of you, so it can't be particularly interactive. So these are my favorite shortcuts. So first of all, moving around the screen, I'm going to use my arrow keys. Okay, here we go. I'm demonstrating. So arrow keys, moving around the screen. Clearly, you don't have an opportunity to practice this. When we run this as a real intro modeling day, if you're attending the course, you're kind of watching me do stuff, but you also have an opportunity to do stuff yourself. So arrow keys to move around the screen. To select or highlight an area is really important. So here we go. Who's of the 113 of you, what do I need to hold down whilst also holding the arrow keys in order to select or highlight an area? Emma Patton got in there first. Shift is the right answer. Okay, we've got that. So it's Shift and the arrow keys. Okay, so just type that in the wrong cell. Okay, that's better. Right. Holding down Shift and the arrow keys. So I'm just demonstrating now. Here I am. You just go over, hold down Shift and move the arrow keys. What I probably should do is, although I don't think this will be particularly useful for many of you, is I'm not going to do this for all of these, but the critical keys we are going to be using are Shift, obviously, which is this one here. Oh, sorry. Let's try and get some white ink. Shift, which is this one here. Look out for Control. That one's going to be important. Alt is going to be very important, and some of the function keys up here. Okay, so those are our critical keys. We're going to be using those a lot just over these next 10 minutes. Right, let's get back to this. So Shift and the arrow keys. to select or highlight an area. Jump to the next cell of interest. So here we go. I'm doing it right now. You can probably see it on the screen. I'm leaping around all over the place. And this is going to be the arrow keys with Control. Control and the arrow keys. And obviously, if you're doing this and you're unlucky, you find yourself in row 65,000. But that's fine. We can quickly get back just by whizzing back up to the top. So Control and the arrow keys. If you're in the middle of a block of text, you will jump to the end of it. If you are in the middle of nowhere, you will jump to the first bit of text. This afternoon, if you've got some time, I would suggest you print off the Word document and just have a play around with some of these yourselves and see how they work. If you want to jump and select at the same time, well, if jumping is Control and selecting is Shift, then jump and select at the same time will be Control and Shift and the arrow keys. So here we go, Control, Shift, and the arrow keys. So quickly, going to demonstrate this. Here I am over here, Control, Shift, arrow keys. So I've whizzed across, it stopped when it's hit something of interest, and it's selected all along the way. And then I could do some formatting or whatever I wanted to do in that area. So those are the utter basics of navigating around the place without using the mouse. Here we go, select a row, bang. So what did anyone, yeah, well, I guess some of you will know that one. What have I just done? What two keys did I hit to select a row? This one is really, really useful. It's not Shift and Enter. It is Shift and something else. Couple of you typing, waiting. Yeah, excellent. Right. This one's really useful. Shift and spacebar. Shift and spacebar. Okay, Shift and spacebar. I do that 300 times a day. All kinds of reasons. If you want lines, borders, formatting, every time you want to select a whole row, it's simply Shift and spacebar and it will select the whole row. So if Shift and spacebar selects a row and I wanted to select a column, that would be Control, well done, Helen, and spacebar. Control and spacebar. Okay, Control and spacebar to select a column, Shift space to select a row. I see, so I could select a column and then I could select a row, which kind of selects everything. There's various ways of selecting everything. As you know, with Excel, there's normally multiple different ways to do the different things. Okay, let's move on. Just one more here. We've got move to another worksheet, which is exactly what I want to do now, because you can see I've got some tabs down here, and my next tab is my Control tab, and then I've got my Alt tab. So I want to move to my Control tab without using my mouse. So that is going to be what? And I've got some suggestions about to pop up. Dum, dum, dum. Control and page up is the right answer. Control and page up or down will move you between your tabs. So let's have a look. Just if you just watch the screen here, I'm holding down my Control and you can see I'm moving between the tabs. To the left, Control page up, to the right, Control page down. And again, that's the kind of thing that once you've done it for a day or two, you kind of start doing it without thinking about it. They will feel a bit strange. They will feel a bit unusual at first, but bear with it, and you too can get rid of your mouse, which slows you down. Let's move on. Control, right? Okay, so you'll know all these, right? Yeah, I guess you'll know all these. Copy is so these are all Control, I think. Control and C. Yeah, I remember. What is it? 1995, I think. It was some kind of Lotus spreadsheet, and even that used to work on that when I started working for PwC. It was Control C to copy. I'm sure most of you will know that one. And paste is not Control P, as you might imagine, but paste is going to be Control and V. Well done. V. Quick demonstration. This is very exciting. Copy and paste. Ta-da, isn't that exciting? And then cut and paste, cut being Control and X. So I would imagine most of you would already know of those three. Let's just see. So obviously cut and paste if I wanted to physically move something. So I want to move this. I'm going to Control X. I'm going to move it somewhere else. I'm going to move it there. Cut and paste. Okay. So you probably know about those. You might not know about these two because these are incredibly useful. If you're building a financial model, you will spend a lot of time working on the left-hand side of the screen with your formulae and then copying and pasting them to the right. Okay, so here we go. Copy and paste to the right. I'm going to type in a word. There you go. Now I want to copy and paste that to the right. What I could do is old school, sit on top of it, Control C, move across, boom, 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 Control V. So I could do that. Control C, Control V. However, it's not required because I can just sit on top of it, hold down Shift and move to where I want to go. And then, as Helen has pointed out, Control and R, R standing for right, because we're copying and pasting to the right. It's just so useful. I use it hundreds of times every day. And certainly if you do a lot of copying and pasting to the right, then I think you should be doing the same. And if copying and pasting to the right is Control and R, then copying and pasting down might be Control and D. Well done. That's going to be R, and that one's going to be D. So let me quickly demonstrate this word here, which happens to be hello. I want to copy and paste that down. So I sit on top of it first. I hold down Shift and move to where I want to go. And then at this point, Control D. So in other words, you don't need to, it's not a two-step process, it's a one-step process. It's not Control C, Control V, it's just Control and D. So if you do a lot of copying and pasting, and let's face it, who doesn't do a lot of copying and pasting, those two are really useful, I think. Okay, what else? Let's move on. Control page down to take me to the next worksheet, and these are all about Alt. Remember the Alt key. Let's quickly, there you go, Alt key is this one here. There you go, there's the Alt key. What can we do with the Alt key? It says Alt to access the ribbon. So the ribbon being the wide toolbar up top. And you might imagine that accessing the ribbon, well, obviously you need to use the mouse because you need to mouse up here and choose the thing you want to do. But it's not true. You don't have to do that. You can tap Alt. Don't hold it down, just tap it. And you'll see there's a whole load of letters and numbers appeared at the top of my screen. I'll just do that again. You just tap Alt. And then there will be a particular, so let's try this. It says insert a row, right? So I insert a row. So I'm going to go Alt. Now, if you look carefully up there at the top, I can actually see there's an icon here, which looks as though it might be useful. I'm only using the mouse now just to point to it so that you can see it. I'm not actually going to use my mouse to access it. It says insert cells. So that's the one I want. Looks like it's on the home tab. And over there on the left, I can see there's a letter H for home. So I'm going to tap a letter H now. There you go, that's H. And then I can see over there on the right, it says I for insert, insert. And then there you go. I could just hit R now for row, or I could move down here. Let's see if it happens. Let's see if this inserts a row. There you go. I've successfully inserted a row. You might be thinking, well, that wasn't very quick. That took forever. But the only reason it took forever is that I was obviously explaining it as I went along. Alt HIR, if you do it quickly, is a couple of milliseconds. So these are all Alt followed by, well, HIR in that case. Insert a column, Alt HIC. You can't really see that because it's a very thin column. Alt HOW for the width of 5. Let's try again, Alt HIC. So there you go, HIC to insert a column. There are obviously hundreds of these things, and there's no point you learning them all. What is important is the things that you do a lot of. If you're constantly coming up here and need to access this icon or that icon, then you just see what the string of letters is, and then you just do it, and it'll start to feel natural. Lines and borders, I do this all the time. So if I want to box around this area here, so the first thing I do is select the area. So remember, that's just holding down Shift and with the arrow keys, and then it's Alt H for home, B for borders. I'll do that again slowly. Alt H for home, and then B for borders. It is, I'm going to wiggle on it with my mouse. It's that one there, B, B, B. And then you can choose the one you want. I'll go for a thick box border. And that's what you do if you want to very quickly get yourself a box around. So that's Alt HB. And it says there, etc., 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 because as I say, there are hundreds of these things. There are hundreds of them. And the important thing, as I say, is that you have a think about the things that you do all the time. And then rather than reaching for your mouse every time, The idea is that eventually it gets a bit like touch typing, and you're just kind of staring into the middle distance, and this is just happening as you progress. As I say, don't expect it to happen overnight. It won't. It will. It will need. It will need some time. So I'm just reading. Yeah. Okay. So good point. There are some old school shortcuts that still work from previous versions of Excel, and that's an example. Alt-IR. Let's give that one a go. So Alt-I, and I get this little message box up top, and it says, okay, this doesn't really make sense, but actually it does because it's from an older version of Excel. So keep on going, and if I can figure out what you want me to do, I'll try it, and there you go. So Alt-IR works as well. Again, there's as always with Excel, there's multiple ways of doing these things. Okay, we're nearly done. There's a few others. I'm going to move on. Control page down. There's a few others that are just absolutely essential. And without these, I'm not sure how anybody survives. Go into a cell to edit it. So let's try this. I've got 3 boxes up here. I'm going to type in 100 there. I'm going to type in 200 there. And I'm going to make this cell here equal to this one multiplied by this one, which should be 20,000. Okay, that's fine. There are all kinds of wonderful things that happen when you sit on a cell and hit function 2. Just incredibly important, function 2. The main wonderful thing that happens is you can kind of see what's happening there now in that cell. You get the colorful boxes. It shows you exactly what it's doing. But more importantly than that, I can now go in here and edit this. So if I wanted to multiply everything by 2, I could do that. That is function 2, and as I say, without that, I'm not sure how anybody can survive. I suppose that's the equivalent of double-clicking in the cell and getting in there to edit it. Dollarize a cell reference. Many of you will know what I mean by that. Some of you might not. We're not here to talk about dollarization, but I am aware of a fair few people out there who are aware of what dollars means, but don't know the quick way to do it. So if I want to dollarize a cell reference, I would point to a cell. And in order to get my dollars on that, I'm going to hit, there it is. Can you see it's wrapped in dollars now? Function 4. And without wishing to get too advanced, if you sit on a cell reference and just start repeatedly tapping function 4, I'm doing it quite slowly so you can see, I'm just repeatedly tapping function 4 now. I've got no dollars, $2, dollar on the row, dollar on the column. So be aware of that. Although, as I say, if you don't know what the dollars are doing, then don't worry about it. It's something that's covered in the full modeling course. Undo, some of you might know about. I'm going to type hello into a cell, and I realize that's a desperately bad mistake. I should not have done that. Control and Z. Undo. That's Control and Z, which is kind of useful. But actually not as useful as this one here, which is redo previous action. Redo previous action. So let's say, for example, what am I going to do? I'm going to go into this cell here. I'm going to put some color in the background, which is all a bit of a faff. There you go. I've found the color that I like. No, I'm going to go for an orange. Here we go. So I've got a kind of orange color there. So I'm going to do that. And then I go somewhere else. But I don't want to be faffing around looking for the same orange. I can just simply do the shortcut for redo previous action, which is, thank you very much, Lauren. It is Control and Y. There you go, just Control and Y, and it'll just do it again. And it should, let's try it again. Okay, fine, we can carry on forever doing this. Control Y, redo previous action. Really useful. Control and Y. Okay, and finally, the very last one. I'm just looking at the clock, and we're almost at half past 1. Auto. So you wouldn't believe how many people are as yet unaware of this, which is the most useful thing in the world ever. There's a row of numbers. I want to add them up, and I want the sum to come in this cell here. And so I could, well, if I really, if I knew no shortcuts at all, I could go mouse it. Where's my mouse? There it is. I could mouse up to this auto sum, so that would probably work, but that's slow. I could type equals sum and then point to them, but that's all a bit time consuming and a bit of a faff. So the alternative is the greatest shortcut that there is, which is this. Ta-da. And I'm guessing of the 113 of you, 20% of you know what that is? I don't know. Anyway, for those of you that don't know what I've just done, I'll do it again. Just kind of does it automatically. It is Alt and equals at the same time. And so if you've learned nothing over this last 20 minutes, that is going to save you literally like 2 hours every day. Only joking. If you add numbers up a lot, that is a really useful shortcut. So you just go to where you want your answer to appear, Alt and equals at the same time. And what Excel does is it actually has a guess at what you want to add. You need to be careful because sometimes it doesn't get it right. Maybe it's a bit confusing and it doesn't know which numbers you want to add up. But usually, more often than not, Excel will get that right. So there you go. Those are my top 15. I've whizzed through them quite quickly. There they are again. Just be aware that the Word document, they are on, there you go. So if you print this off, you can stick it next to your desk. They are all on that Word document. And as I say, the useful ones, the ones you use all the time, just use them, use them, use them. It'll be slow, it'll be painful, but it will pay off. And it won't be that long before you see it paying off, and you'll be reaping the rewards and the dividends. Okay, so there you go. It was promised to be half an hour. We're pretty much on exactly half an hour. Let's see if I've got a wrap-up slide. There you go. So there's just the other courses that we're running. So on the left-hand side there, you will see the classroom courses. So there's a finance intro, which is 1 day, comprehensive 2 days, and advanced 2 days. You can go onto the BPP website and you can have a look at those courses. Bearing in mind, what we've done is just a little flavour of a little bit of the intro day. On the right-hand side there, you've got the online courses. The main one being the financial modelling intro. That's actually running, so it's running as 3 2-hour modules. It's not a freebie, unlike this. It's running 14th of June. There's also, we're doing some recordings, kind of 45-minute, 50-minute recordings, streamable, downloadable recordings, and there's one actually on the golden rules of financial modelling. All of these things, you can see them on the BPP website. And then last but not least, if I can click on here, there you go. So hopefully hopefully that's enhanced your lunchtime. If you wouldn't mind, just in fact, I think if I click on here now, this kind of opens up in your browsers. So if you find a minute, either now or whenever, to fill in the feedback form, that would be most appreciated. Otherwise, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.